The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hello, everyone. This is Rob Deininger with Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and I'm here with Jack Degraw, and we're talking Yankees baseball. How you doing, Jack?
Good. How are you today, Robert?
Not too bad. Pitchers and catchers reported, and players are showing up. Spring training is underway, really.
Yeah, they come into camp yesterday, the pitchers, and the regulars are out working about a mile away at the Yankee complex. So the best time of the year is started.
Yeah, and a little bit of Yankee news, as a lot of fans know, James Paxton is out for 3 to 4 months, but even he says he anticipates being back sometime in May, early June at the latest. And Brian Cashman said something interesting the other day, that he sees the fifth spot in the rotation as an open competition between Montgomery, Sessa, Jonathan Loaiza, Michael King, and the young kid who turns 21 this year, Deivi Garcia, who shot up the minor league ranks last season.
Well, I think we'll in the early spring games we'll see Deivi Garcia and Schmidt, get a chance to pitch. I'm just I'm taking a guess right now. I think you'll see Montgomery to start the year in the minor leagues. I think the favorite will be Sessa and Loaiza. They've got more experience. That's just my gut feeling.
And Loaiza, a couple of years ago, when he came up due to injuries in the rotation, he pitched really good for 5, 6, 7 starts in a row. He was really good. And then last year he was hampered by injuries.
Yeah, I mean he's been around pro ball for 8 or 9 years, and if you look at his career stats throughout the major and minor leagues, he really don't have a lot of innings. He's been hurt quite a bit, but when he's healthy, he's he has good potential.
Yeah, because he's a big guy with a upper 90s fastball that has a lot of movement on it, and he has a pretty good slider to boot.
Yeah, I mean he's got the talent. I mean, but we'll see how they do in spring training. And one thing, Robert, I forgot to mention it to you off air. Herman is going to work out in Venezuela with the Yankees.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's going to stay down in Venezuela and work out with the Dominican team down there. So that's where he'll be, for the next couple of months, I'd imagine.
Yeah. At least he'll be keeping himself in shape, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to come back when he gets eligible again.
Yeah.
And Deivi Garcia, I think the only way he even has a chance to make the rotation is if he lights out this spring training. But I think we'll see Garcia start the season in the minors too.
Yeah, I mean he really has to come in and give up 1 run in 15 innings, and have 20 strikeouts. He really has to come in and shine. And like we always talk about, he struggled a little when he got to AAA. So, he does need more experience.
Yeah, and Cashman also said to keep an eye on these pitchers during spring training. Albert Abreu, Michael King, Brooks Krisky, Luis Medina, Nick Nelson, Chris Clark, and Alexander Vizcaino.
Yeah, I know about Albert Abreu and a couple of the other guys. The big thing with them is if they can just stay healthy. I mean they got a lot of talent, but I think a lot of these guys have just had success in high A ball, and it really hasn't got to Double A yet. And so until they start doing really well at Double A, it's still up. It's still up in the air, but there is a lot of good young arms.
Yeah, and going back to James Paxton, he basically has what it was a cyst caused by an ingrown hair that got infected. And I've had a couple of friends who've had something similar. And it's very painful, and you're extremely sore after you have it removed. But, healing takes about, 6 weeks, 8 at the longest. And after that, I mean, you're full go. You're allowed to, go all out and work out. So, I mean, I don't anticipate him being out 3 to 4 months. I see him back sometime at the end of May, June 1st, latest.
That's a good thing for the Yankees. I believe, didn't he miss his last start in the regular season last year? I mean, he pitched well in the playoffs, but from what I understand, he had that that back problems giving trouble for a while, and anything with the back is always scary.
Yeah. He missed his last start in the regular season, and he didn't he come out one of the playoff games early, like in his first start in the playoffs, pitched like 4 innings and came out.
Yeah, I remember he pitched. I remember that he pitched well, and it's like, well, why is he only throwing 4 innings? Well, that had something to do with it. And then didn't he have that great game against the Astros in I think it was Game 5? He pitched a super game.
Yeah, he was lights out, and he was the Yankees' I think hottest pitcher down the stretch. He won his last 10 games of the regular season last season.
Yeah, the last 3 months of the season, he was everything they thought when they signed him. So that's a great arm to have in the rotation.
Yeah. And we were talking off air. Gerrit Cole had a bullpen session, and they said he basically was given a master class on pitching and talking with the catchers and the pitching coach on how he likes his pitches, where he likes to locate his pitches, even on misses where he expects his pitches to go. But they said he really gave a master class on how he likes to pitch and how he likes to have games called.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody gets a chance to listen to that video, I mean, it reminded me like when they used to have Tom Seaver on Kiner's Corner years ago, and he would give like a seminar on pitching. I mean, so you can see why Cole is so good, because every pitch has a purpose. Yeah. Even if it misses, it's why he's trying to miss or locate, have command of his pitches. It's just having a guy like that in your team, as well as being great on the field, he can help out the other pitchers. And all these young guys in camp, go up to a guy like that, and you could learn a lot.
Yeah, he also said he's looking forward to working with Tanaka and Severino, and seeing what they can learn from each other. So he could be a real big help with that rotation, along with the other pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like 2009 when CeCe came in, and hopefully Cole have the same effect.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good rotation. I mean, Gerrit Cole, Tanaka, Severino, Paxton when he's healthy. I mean, 1 through 4, that's pretty stout rotation. Just hopefully they all stay healthy this season, for the most part.
Yeah, and you got some arms to back them up. So I don't think pitching will be a problem this year. Yeah, really the Yankees are pretty much set. I mean, there's not too many question marks. It's just the big thing is health. Yeah,
and Cashman also talked about some of the position players. He basically said Urshela is a third baseman, and it's his job to lose. And they're very happy and encouraged by how Andahar is willing to do whatever it takes to try to make the roster. But they did say if he has a slow spring, he'll probably start down in AAA.
Yeah, there's been videos over at the Himes, the minor league complex, of Andujar, working out at first base and working out in left field, and I'm sure he'll get a good look at this spring training playing those two positions, because if you can catch fly balls in Florida with the high sky and the wind, you can catch them anywhere. So, that's something to look to, see him at those two positions.
Yeah, I mean, and, with Andahar, going to the outfield, first base, and you're going to have Talkman battling for a roster spot to back up Gardner. Clint Frazier looks to be the odd man out. Even if he has a great spring, I don't see him making the roster.
Yeah, he's on the cusp, and we haven't really heard too much about him at all over the winter. Maybe some trade rumors, but I don't think they're going to put him in the minors again this year. I mean, it's either like he's going to make the team, or you wind up trading him because what more do you have to prove in AAA?
Yeah, and also Mike Ford, the first baseman, a lot of people are raving about him. I mean, there's a chance he can make the roster. If Voit struggles.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a big time bat, and he's got a great eye at the plate. I mean, he fits in good with the rest of the Yankee hitters, and I heard he's lost some weight. He did a lot of yoga in the off season, so he'll look better in the uniform.
And I'd like to see Stanton this year, have a great year, because he only played 18 games last year, but his first year with the Yankees, he had 38 home runs and 100 RBIs, which both of those led the team. So, and that was considered an off year for him, and he still led the team in homers and RBIs.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if Stanton can stay healthy, he can still be a big time player. And last year he just got hurt. It was a baseball injury. So if you get hurt playing baseball and you're a baseball player, I mean, it's not like he had an off season. He just didn't have really any season. He only played 18 games, and he come back in the playoffs and he wasn't healthy. So hopefully he can stay healthy from day one.
And we were talking off air when we were talking about Gerrit Cole and his bullpen session. You were telling me you used to be able to go and watch the pitchers pitch, but you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's down here in Tampa, I mean, it's still fun to go to spring training.
Yeah.
The gates open at 10 o'clock, and the pitchers and catchers will be there through Monday, and then Tuesday the whole squad comes in. So if anybody's in the Tampa area, it's great to see. But the thing is, Robert, if you look at now, you'll see the pitchers throw their sessions underneath. So the fans really can't go down there. They're not allowed down there, so you can't see any of the bullpens. And when the pitchers used to have fielding practice, you could walk right up to the fence and you could watch this. And now everything's closed off. So even if you go to the camp, you really don't get the chance to see much with the pitchers and catchers. Now, when the regular squad's there, you have access to the regular, the Steinbrenner field, and you can go to the outside field and you can see the hitters hit, and but the fielding practice is on a backfield, and you have to stand in the stadium and look over, to see any of the action going on. So you really don't have the access that you used to have, and it's kind of unfortunate, because spring training, you chance to get close to the players, and it's not like it used to be, and it's not as long as it used to be. It used to be 12, 13 days, and now it's like 7 or 8 days. So that's one of the changes.
And the Yankees put out a list yesterday of a lot of the ex-players who will be attending spring training as extra coaches, and Alfonso Soriano is one of them, Bernie Williams, I think Andy Pettit was on the list, but there was like 11 or 12 players, former Yankees, that will be in spring training this year to help out. Yeah,
Tino will be down there. Reggie will be down there. Reggie's always here. Stump Merrill's always there. It's not the same without Stump, because he's like there. This will be my 16th spring, and Stump's been there every year. And I think Willie Randolph is showing up. We might see Mo down there, and Matsui. So it's a who's who. It's the great tradition, and it's always fun to see all these great Yankees.
Yeah. For Stump Merrill, he only got to manage 1 year, right? 1 season.
Yeah, but he was in the Yankee minor league season, or minor league manager, for many years.
Yeah.
But Stump's been around a long time, so it's not the same when you don't see Stump. It's like now, when you go down, you don't see Yogi anymore. It's Stick Michael used to be there, and Yogi and Stick were great, and so seeing Stump down there, it's still like one of the old guard is still around.
Yeah. I'm trying to find that list of players that they put out yesterday. I can't find it.
Oh, Ron Guidry. Ron Guidry's down here. One of the things, Robert, a lot of these guys are just down here. It's all shit and giggles and stuff. But I mean, guys like Willie Randolph and Guidry, and some of the other ones, they really work with the guys. They're not just down here to soak up the sun, which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I saw a video yesterday of Gary Sanchez hitting one out of Steinbrenner Park or down there. He hit one, I think, over the scoreboard during batting practice.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Robert, in left field and center field, there's not really a lot of space there. So a lot of those balls will go out of the stadium. When they hit them out in right field, there's more stands, there's more, so it's really more of a shot. But anytime they put it over the scoreboard, it's like the height is unbelievable. So
yeah,
it's still something to see.
And did you catch any of that press conference yesterday for the Houston Astros and their owner?
Very little, Robert, because from what I heard and what I read, most of it was just a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, I mean the owner he apologized, and then the next breath he's saying, but it didn't affect the game. And one reporter asked him, if it didn't affect the game, then what are you sorry about? And he went to talk and he stopped, literally for like 2 or 3 seconds, and right away I thought he's sorry they got caught, and he said, we broke the rules, and that's why we're sorry. He goes, but we had a good team, and I believe we would have won the World Series regardless. And he just came off as arrogant, and he didn't want to even admit that the sign stealing scandal had any effect on the game.
Well, everything was just so blatant. I mean, sign stealing is an art form, and it's been going on in baseball for years. But when you use all the modern technology, and it's like if you're gonna cheat or steal or do something, at least be good at it. But they were so blatant, they were so blatant about everything. And, with pounding the trash cans and, like, the whistling in the dugout. And the thing is, with the technology, you can get the signs now right away.
Yeah, and their front office, they had an algorithm they developed that allowed them to, once the catcher started putting down his fingers, the algorithm could read it right away and give you real-time information on what pitch he was going to throw. I mean, this was a high-tech operation they got going on, and they denied wearing buzzers. But I mean, if you got your front office working on algorithms to figure out what the catcher's signs are, it's not far-fetched to think you're wearing some kind of electrical device.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a disgrace, to the game of baseball, and it's a disgrace too that. They got away with it, the way I look at it. I mean, it doesn't impact the product on the field. None of the players are going to get suspended. And it's just it's just business as usual. So, they keep putting all this stuff out, but if nothing's going to be done, if nobody's going to be suspended, any of the players, it really doesn't mean anything. It's just they got away with it.
Yeah, and Buster Olney, after the Astros owner spoke, he went down. He was with the Yankees yesterday. He went and asked Aroldis Chapman. He told him that the owner said it didn't affect the game, and Aroldis Chapman said, he goes, the hitters in Major League Baseball are really good, and he says if they know what's coming, then they can affect the game. He said, so I'll leave it at that. But he's right. I mean, these hitters, if they know it's coming, they're going to sit on it and hit it hard.
Well, the thing is, Robert, do you remember Chapman's reaction, his facial reaction when he gave up the home run?
Yeah.
It was like, holy shit, he knew this was coming. How did he know this was coming?
Yeah. And there's that player suing the Astros. His name slips my mind at the moment.
Yeah, he pitched for the Blue Jays. I seen it on Wayne Unger's site, a fellow podcaster on Way to Donuts, and I read some of that the other day. And the guy actually has he could have a case. I mean, it could open up a can of worms. Yeah,
and because the inning he pitched, the inning he got rocked, you can hear the trash can being banged 12 times. So, I mean, they knew exactly what he was throwing.
Yeah, and I mean, if they let it go to trial, it could open up a can of worms. And like we were talking out off air, Robert, I'm surprised in the steroid era, a lot of the players in the minor leagues didn't get together and do Major League Baseball, because a lot of these guys were denied, an opportunity to make money, denied an opportunity to get to the big leagues because other players were using steroids and they weren't, and so their career was affected too. I'm surprised they didn't all get together and file a lawsuit and challenge the steroid era, but it never happened.
Because there are a lot of players who were hitting home runs that never really hit home runs, and it seemed like every month someone new was setting the home run record for that month. It was crazy back then.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the minor leagues and you're hitting 20 home runs, and you don't even get a cup of coffee, 20, 25 home runs, it's like your career was impacted, and your chance to make some big dollars was impacted. I mean, you play a year or two in the major leagues, you can practically be a millionaire. So get denied that chance, and if you're in the major leagues for a day, you get health care. So it's a lot of their career, their career was affected, and their life was affected.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to that Blue Jays pitcher, he was sent down to the minors the next day after that outing and never made it back up. So, I mean, that had a negative impact on his career, that sign stealing.
Yeah, I mean, granted, his earned run average was high before that, but
true.
Let me try to get his name, Robert. It would help if at least we acknowledge the guy's name.
And going back to the steroid era, Brady Anderson of the Orioles, I mean, he wasn't considered a home run hitter, and then all of a sudden that year he hits 49 or 50 home runs. Yeah, I mean, that happened a lot. The pitcher's name was Mike Bolsinger. Okay. So at least we finally got the name and stuff. But and if it does go to trial and there's any punitive damages awarded, the money will go to baseball charities, including helping former players who are in financial trouble now. Yeah, before the pension plan stepped in, I mean, guys could play like 3 years in the major leagues, have go up and down, have 400, 500, 600 bats, and they don't get anything. So yeah, it's another a lot of guys. Talking to somebody with the Yankees, and he played X amount of years, and he didn't get any money. And going back to Yankees, if Jordan Montgomery does have a really good spring, do you think he'll probably be the likely fifth starter if he has a really good spring? Yeah, if he has a really big spring,
then I think you really have to. He'll have to really pitch exceptional to force his way into the mix. And another thing, Robert, I mean, the season this year is starting on the 26th of March, but the minor league season doesn't start till April 9th. So a guy like Montgomery might not make the opening day roster, but he'll be pitching in the minor league exhibition game here, and so he can conceivably be on the team in let's say mid-April.
Yeah, because I mean, I was really, really high on him. I mean, his rookie year, I think he led all rookie pitchers in swings and misses. He has like 5 or 6 different pitches he can throw, and he seemed to get more comfortable as the year went on. I think he won 11 games his rookie year.
Yeah.
I think he's someone we could see in the rotation for the next few years to come.
Yeah. So, like we keep saying, they have a lot of big arms in the minor leagues, and so they're help. The Yankee player I was talking to, Robert, his name was Buddy Hassett. He played in the 1940s. That's the guy he was trying to get money for major league players, and they actually won some money. But I believe he passed away soon after that. But that's the guy's name I was trying to remember. So sorry, go ahead, Robert.
Oh no, yeah, those players back then. I mean, they made peanuts. I mean, they didn't get paid that much.
No, and the thing is, once they sign that contract, the teams have their rights forever, and it's like there was no other place to go. So the owners had the players by the throat, and now the players got a lot more leverage. Kurt Flood and Marvin Miller, but now it's billionaires against millionaires. So it's and the players' union is very strong. So that's probably why they don't want to do anything with the Astro players. And plus, the Astro players were granted immunity, and guys like Joe Jackson and Buck Weaver and Eddie Seacott, they weren't. So anything they said was used against them. Anything the Astros players say now, it's like, it's kept quiet.
Yeah, because they got the CBA coming. They got to renegotiate the CBA in a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's coming up in December of this year or next year. So, if they started suspending players, it could get really ugly. So maybe that's probably the main reason nothing's being done. And plus, the Astros are going to make Major League Baseball billions of dollars this year, and you don't want to kill the golden goose.
Yeah, but it's just unreal to think that there was a numerous amount of players on the team that were cheating, and to think not even one of them got suspended. And finding the owner $5 million is like chump change. I mean, he probably has that lying in a safe somewhere. I mean, and a couple of draft picks. I mean, they really just got a slap on the wrist if you think about it.
Well, like I always say, they just fired the janitor. That's it. I mean, even with the draft picks, it's 4 players. It's the number 1 pick and the number 2. But, 69% of all the players drafted in the big leagues, 69% make it to the big leagues in any, even to play one game. So, it's not like a big of impact as, it may seem. It's like if they took picks away for, 4 or 5 years, a number 1 pick for maybe 4 or 5 years, and suspending them for maybe the first 5 or 6 rounds for 3 years, it would have an impact on the team. But, what they did really doesn't really mean too much.
No. And have you heard this nonsense about them expanding the playoffs to add 2 more wild card teams to the mix?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, this owner. I mean, this commissioner. I don't know what the hell he's doing. I mean, these owners and the commission. It's like they're destroying something that isn't broken. You're trying to fix something that doesn't. You're appealing to all the young crowd because they figure, well, us old guys will be dead anyway, so who cares what we think? But all these rule changes and this thing with the playoffs is ridiculous.
Yeah, because I mean, what are you going to have? A couple, wild card games that are only one game each, or are you going to move it to a 3-game series? In which case, you're just making the playoffs even that much longer. You'll be playing into November, well into November.
Yeah, and I mean now there was even a rule. Say like the Yankees won the most games, and they could look at all the playoff teams and say, well, we want to play the Twins. So now you can even pick the team you're going to play. So, I mean, I don't know who thinks of these things. And this 3-batter rule is just it's garbage. And even at the end of the year, I mean, you can only have a 28-man roster. I mean, I think they should have cut it off at maybe 30 or 32 because – the Yankees were bringing up like they had 35, 40 guys on the team. But, a lot of these guys will never get a chance to play in the major leagues. So, so that's another way the owners will save money.
Yeah, and Michael Kay had a nice debate going on the other day because Major League Baseball wants to try to appeal more to the younger crowd. Sort of like the NBA, but NBA and the Major League Baseball are just two different animals. I mean, the baseball players, they're playing every day, and it's a grind. They don't want to be bothered. The NBA players, they play a game, have 2 days off. Their games are only 60 minutes. Their game's over in an hour and a half, 2 hours, where baseball players, their games